What's going on, everybody? This is Brian Mazik. We're talking again today. And the subject I'm wanting to talk to today is actually something that I think maybe everybody can relate to. I know something I can. I'm, I'm always like, if I'm going to do a video, if I'm going to say something to some people, to everybody, I'm always like kind of making sure that I'm talking to myself as well. I heard a pastor that I love and respect, it's actually a friend of mine, Pastor Garland Mays, say this, and he says, "As long as I'm talking to myself, I know I'm doing the right thing when I'm in the pulpit." So anytime I do a video, I kind of try to carry that same concept in with me. So I'm talking about today is, you ever know how like some people, even maybe yourself, even maybe me sometimes, would rather be wrong than to be corrected? Like, you'll never outwardly admit that. Well, let me just be wrong. Most people won't say that, right? But maybe it's your actions that are saying, maybe just let me be wrong. Don't correct me. And I don't know where that comes from. Maybe it comes from a different place, depending on who you are. But we all kind of, have you ever talked to somebody and whenever they disagree with another person, it seems like the number one priority is not finding the truth. It's more about ending the conversation with the other person being, essentially saying, you're right. That's why this, maybe whoever this person is, when every time you talk to them, it's like you're making points to this person, or you're saying this to this person, or you're saying this, and this, and they, for whatever reason, have an issue, admitting that they're wrong. They're the type of person that you'll never hear them say something like, "Oh, well, I guess you have a point there." "Oh, no, you are. No, I guess you have a point there." I look at that differently now, I guess, because what you just said made me think this. You ever talk to somebody who like, you pretty much know that it's impossible to ever get to that place in a conversation with them? It's kind of frustrating. Now, like I said, don't get me wrong. We all want to be right, right? Nobody starts off any conversation with a point or an opinion, and their goal is to be wrong, right? Nobody does that, right? And I can tell you for a fact, and anybody who knows me will tell you, I'm not an easy win when it comes to conversations. And sometimes I know that I can do better at like choosing my battles and what I decide to go back and forth about. But I believe, then I think the people that know me best would say that if you do make a good point to me, right, and it changes my mind, I can acquiesce and say like, "No, you're right. No, you're right. I was wrong." I don't know. There's something about being able to do that actually makes me feel good. It brings about a certain amount of respect from me to that person that I'm talking to. And it makes me feel a little bit better about myself, because saying that I'm wrong actually doesn't, it's weird. It's like, it's not easy to get me to say it, but because you got to show me, but it doesn't bother me to say it. But I guess the thing about it for me is, I'm not going to say it until I actually believe it. I'm not going to say I'm wrong just to make you feel better. I'm not going to say I'm wrong just to make you, because you take being wrong worse than, harder than I take it. You got to actually show me, right? And I don't know, some people feel that that's wrong, or creates issues or whatever. I don't know. That's still a beast I'm wrestling with, right? But I know that when there's someone that can never say they were wrong, and instead they just keep spinning words at you to confuse the situation, is usually an example of pride, right? And so there's a scripture about it. And like, anytime I talk to you guys, I want to always bring a scripture that supports what I'm talking about. So it's Proverbs 16:18, and I'm reading this from the English Standard Version. It says, pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. So for me, what that means is, when you have so much pride that you cannot admit, maybe that you're wrong, maybe that you need to change something, or that all of your decision making is based on your pride, that leads to destruction. And when you have that sort of haughty spirit, like, I know it all, I got it all under control, that is usually, it's going to precede you having setbacks, right? I don't think that this is a male or female trait. I think a lot of times, people say, oh, man and their pride. And I've met some really proud men, but I've also met some crazy proud women who have the same thing, who do the both things, right? But so the dangers for me in this is people become overly adversarial towards you because they think that you're arrogant. They think you don't respect them. I mean, I feel some of that from people sometimes, and it's not even that I won't ever say that I'm wrong. It's just that sometimes it's difficult for people to get me to that place because they haven't said anything in our conversation that would make me say, they haven't presented anything new to me that would make me go, oh, I think different than what I thought when I came in. But when that's just unattainable for people that's talking to you, then those are the dangers that happen. The benefit to me in being able to say that you're wrong, right? Being able to be corrected is that, to me, is you show that you're more trustworthy, right? People believe that you're more genuine. Like a person who can genuinely say, man, now, you know what, I thought that at first, but she said that or he said that, and now I think differently. And when somebody says something like that to you, you look at them because it's so out of the ordinary, because people don't admit they're wrong, really, right? Especially, and literally tell you, because of what you said, I look at this differently. That's something that people just generally don't say to each other. And so I'm not saying manufacture these situations where they're not there, but if someone says something to you and it literally resonates with you and makes you think, oh, maybe what I was thinking was wrong, and maybe what they're saying now is right. And it lands on you in that way. If you're able to give that person their flowers, most times, depending on who that person is, they'll be more ready and more willing to do the same thing with you when you make a point to them. Now, sometimes there's uneven conversations, right? Where there's one person who seems like they're always making a point and another person seems like they don't make points. So then it's a tough trade-off, right? Because one person seems like they're taking it more often than, they're able to give. So those things just are tough situations. You got to just, kind of pray your way through those. But in general, being able to admit it when someone presents a valid point to you is important. Now, I think this is also important from a spiritual concept, right? Because there are times that God, I believe, is talking to us and trying to correct us. And more importantly than the conversations that we have with people is being able to admit when you're going wrong with God and being able to say, hey, yeah, now with God is hopefully, it could be, but hopefully it's not about pride. Because hopefully you would drop your pride when you're talking to God, but maybe, some people may not. But sometimes he's trying to correct you. And what you have to do is to stop making excuses for whatever it is that's preventing you from embracing the correction. And like I said, I am really, really talking to myself as much as I'm talking to anybody right now. So just like anybody watching this video, I'm on my own journey, just like you are. And hopefully something that I said today resonates with you, lands with you in the right way. I appreciate this opportunity to be able to speak to people, even though obviously it's one that everyone has. You just turn on your camera, run your YouTube channel, however you want to. But I don't take for granted the ability, or I'm not taking it loosely, that any human being at any given time could find themselves watching this video. So I take great responsibility with that. I never want to be willy-nilly with the ability to actually speak to people, because you never know what you may say and how it may land. So I try to make sure that I'm taking, care whenever I'm talking. So like always, I appreciate you watching. God bless. Make sure you subscribe to me, but only follow God. Peace.